Hello guys! Today, we're going to look at an important and interesting optimization method. Many people tend to overlook this aspect when developing games, but in the end, it can have a significant impact on FPS. We've all noticed that in some games, certain locations feature animated fabrics. This can be a flag, a towel, a curtain, a rag, or many other things. So, how can you achieve this without sacrificing performance? If you use the standard wind directional system in Unreal Engine, along with built-in cloth simulation Chaos Cloth, it can heavily load your system. If there are many such objects in the scene, the FPS can drop noticeably, since the CPU has to calculate the physical interaction of the wind with every vertex of the fabric on each frame. To optimize this, the best solutions are the following. The first method is called Vertex Animation Texture. This approach has its advantages and disadvantages. The main advantage is that you bake the object's movement into a texture. Theoretically, you can bake any object's movement into a texture, and it won't affect system performance at all. However, the downside is that you'll need an add-on or third-party plugin in your 3D editor to export the object in VAT format for further use. There is also the Anim to Texture plugin for Unreal Engine, but as far as I understand, it works with Bones. I haven't fully explored it yet, so in this video, I'm going to focus on methods that use an add-on in a 3D application. I use Blender, but similar add-ons for saving objects in VAT format are likely available for other 3D programs as well. The first thing we'll need to do is create the necessary animation. As an example, I'll create two simple animations, one for a flag and one for a rag. Next, using the add-on, we save these objects in the VAT format, so we can work with them in Unreal Engine later. After saving, we get three files. The first is the standard mesh, the second is a texture that contains all the animation we created, and the third file contains the necessary parameters we'll need later. We then import these two files, the mesh and the texture, into Unreal Engine. But to make everything work, we need to create a master material that will play back our animation. Alternatively, you can download a ready-made one. The shader is very lightweight and won't affect performance. Based on the master material, we create a material instance and set the necessary parameters. Let's start with the main values that are responsible for the movement or animation of our object. Enter these numbers carefully, they are specified in the third file. For max values, enter one set of values, and for min values, another. Now, add our texture. For more accurate animation, I recommend opening the texture settings and setting the compression settings to HDR. Set the FPS. I usually set it to the minimum, which is enough for such an object. For frame count, specify the number of animation steps. Don't forget about the texture resolution. The next parameters you can adjust as you like. Frame start allows you to specify from which step the animation should start, which is useful for variety if several objects are placed close together. Everything is ready. Now we can see how our object moves with virtually no performance impact on the system. In this case, it's a static mesh, and all motion is handled by the shader running on the GPU. CPU load is almost zero. You can place even 1,000 such flags without any drop in frame rate. And if you also combine identical objects using ISM, you will greatly optimize your project. How to combine objects via ISM and what impact it has, you can learn in this video. The second approach is the classic one. If you don't need perfect physical accuracy and animation as in the first method, and you just want to create a simple wind effect on the fabric, then world position offset will help. This is the most optimized method. It's the lightest for the system and has no real performance cost, since the fabric's movement is driven by a mathematical formula. There are many different ways to create this formula. I'll show you the one I use most often. First, I'll create a reroute that will control the speed, which I will use later in the formula. I'll create another reroute for the coordinates. I'll show you what this connection influences a bit later. Now, let's create vertical waves using a linear gradient. Here, we connect our speed node. Use sine with different values to bring variation to the movement. Multiply all this by our coordinate connection. Then create a copy for the horizontal waves. Don't forget to also add an intensity control. Finally, connect everything to the world position offset slot. After that, as usual, we create a material instance and let's configure it in detail. Here we have the wind simulation speed, the number of waves, the overall intensity, and of course, attenuation. In the coordinates section, you can set which channel should control attenuation. It depends on your object. A higher value gives less attenuation, and a lower value provides better control. Everything is ready. If you need complex simulation or animation for an object that will be placed close to the character in the scene, then Vertex animation texture is an excellent option. If you just want your object to gently move in the background, then world position offset is a good choice. Today, we've discussed how you can animate secondary objects in your scene without putting a load on your system. If you found the video helpful, I'd appreciate your like, and make sure to subscribe. There's a lot more valuable information to come. See you next time.